From Vermont Public, this is The Frequency. I'm Burgess Brown. It's Thursday, April 24th, and here are today's headlines. A Columbia University student who was arrested by federal immigration agents last week will stay in Vermont as a federal judge considers his case. Mohsen Madawi applied for U.S. citizenship last year after a decade of living in Vermont. He was arrested by immigration and customs enforcement officers after attending a naturalization interview in Colchester. Madawi is one of several students the Trump administration has detained after speaking out against Israel's war in Gaza. Cyrus Mehta, Madawi's lawyer, said that's why he's being targeted.
It's very important to assert in this case that the government can't arrest and detain you if you've exercised your constitutional rights under the First Amendment.
In court documents, federal attorneys argue Madawi's detention is legal as removal proceedings play out in immigration court. Another hearing is scheduled for next Wednesday. College presidents at schools like Harvard and Tufts are co-signing a letter condemning the Trump administration's actions when it comes to higher ed. In Vermont, the presidents of Middlebury College, Bennington College, and Champlain College have also signed on to the letter. The administration has been ordering schools to comply with a variety of demands or else lose their federal funding. Lynn Pascarella leads the American Association of Colleges and Universities, the group behind the letter that's been signed by more than 200 college presidents.
Now more than ever, we need to work together across differences to ensure that we safeguard the integrity of American higher education, not only for our colleges and universities, but for democracy itself.
A White House spokesperson says the administration does not find the letter persuasive. The state wants the electric grid to be more resilient to the effects of climate change. But Anne Margolis with the Department of Public Service says no one really knows what resiliency means.
How much resilience should utilities be planning for? How should that be measured? How should potential investments be prioritized? And then how do we measure sort of the effectiveness of those investments?
The Department of Public Service is leading a series of workshops starting next month to better understand the costs and benefits of strengthening the electric grid. Margolis says the final report will help determine whether electric utilities should be doing more to prevent outages as climate change causes more destructive storms. And the Quebec Health Ministry has declared an end to the province's measles outbreak. There have been no reported cases of measles since March 18th, CBC reports. An outbreak is considered over if 32 days pass without a new infection reported. Quebec's outbreak began in December 2024 when an undiagnosed contagious person visited the province. Around 80% of Quebec's cases were reported in the Laurentians region, north of Montreal. Coming up, cars and climate change have made annual early spring migrations for amphibians more treacherous. That story after this. Across New England in early spring, a huge amphibian migration takes place. Scientists call it Big Night. But cars and climate change have made it more treacherous. And as NHPR's Mara Hoplamazian reports for the New England News Collaborative's Earth Day series, some people are now trying to make things right.
Oh, what do you got? Oh, we got a wood frog.
It's a dark and stormy night. There's a thick layer of fog over Keene, New Hampshire, and dozens of people are walking back and forth down a road that curls around the Woodland Cemetery. But the vibe is not spooky. Everyone looks right at home, glowing in reflective vests and juggling bright flashlights. In fact, the group wishes it was a little stormier.
If it ever starts raining, we could see spotted salamanders tonight. So remember that we want to take their pictures. If you see them, give a holler.
This is what amphibian enthusiasts call Big Night. Usually there are several each spring. Frogs and newts and salamanders carpet the ground in a coordinated spring migration. They all move together when conditions are just right, warm, dark, and rainy. Brett Thielen, who works as the science director at the Harris Center for Conservation Education, has been helping migrating amphibians cross roads for almost 2 decades with a team of Salamander Crossing Brigade volunteers. The brigade doesn't stop the cars. They're more like bodyguards, picking up the little critters with clean, wet hands to give them a fast track to the other side of the road. Why did the amphibians cross the road, you ask?
He's going to go over to the beaver wetland there and eventually deposit some spermatophores, which are little packets of sperm that look like breadcrumbs.
In other words, to get to the water to breed. Usually amphibians are looking for vernal pools, seasonal bodies of water that fill up with snowmelt and rain around this time of year. They're a bad habitat for fish and other predators, which make them a safe spot for baby amphibians, the next generation of key species that provide nutrients for creatures all around the region and sequester carbon in soil. But before they can get there, they need to survive a different threat: human infrastructure. Roads on these nights can be a pretty devastating sight, Thielen says.
For the first 10 years of the project, on a night like this, I would hate to go home because even when we were out here, a few cars coming through with this many frogs on the road could leave a lot of dead in their wake.
This road, North Lincoln Street, is closed to cars on big nights. But there are hundreds of other sites throughout New England. In many places, volunteers brave wet, dark roads and the cars that come down them to provide safe passage. Volunteers say they think of these nights as righting a human wrong, trying to counter some of the ways that roads and cars have made amphibians' lives harder. But as warm, rainy nights come earlier each year, the threat of another human-caused hazard, climate change, looms.
My concerns vis-a-vis climate change for vernal pools are changes in temperature and hydrology from winter all the way around until spring, so the whole annual cycle.
Aram Calhoun is an emerita professor of wetland ecology and conservation at the University of Maine. She says warmer winters and unpredictable rain and drought conditions are changing amphibians' habitats. So it's more important than ever to help make sure amphibians who can migrate to their pools make it there. The easiest way to do that is not driving on rainy spring nights. But for folks who want to join the effort to help connect amphibians to their pools, Katie Luscombe might have some advice. She's been bringing her kids out for big nights in Keene for years.
When we drive home, we're super careful. We try and brake for them. Sometimes the kids and I will get out of the car in the cemetery and go out and clear the frogs out of the front of the car.
Luscombe says she had never heard of Big Night before she started participating, but her whole family looks forward to it now.
It makes me happy. Rainy days are hard, and helping to cross amphibians is a little ray of sunshine.
Here's our first spotty of the year.
Yes.
Some junior crossing brigade members described the sensation of picking up amphibians as wet, weird, and slimy. But when a spotted salamander showed up with a tiny, smiling face and yellow polka dots on his back, everyone on the road knelt down to get a look, sometimes even a gentle pet, before sending him on his way. For the New England News Collaborative, I'm Mara Hoplamazian.
That story is part of our Earth Day series, all this week from the New England News Collaborative. Today's episode was produced and edited by Liam Elder Connors. We had additional reporting from Lexi Krupp, Howard Weiss-Tisman, and Adia Golston. And our music is by Blue Dot Sessions. I'm Burgess Brown. Talk to you tomorrow.
This is Tanya Mosley, co-host of Fresh Air. You'll see your favorite actors, directors, and comedians on late-night TV shows or YouTube. But what you get with Fresh Air is a deep dive. Spend some quality time with people like Billie Eilish, Questlove, Ariana Grande, Stephen Colbert, and so many more. We ask questions you won't hear asked anywhere else. Listen to the Fresh Air podcast from NPR and WHYY.